From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LALATE with huge news about your housing crash of 2022, your stock market crash of 2022, your recession of 2023, and your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In today's recording, we go over that fourth stimulus check, which is in every U.S. state, and why the Build Back Better Act has the support of more bad economic data released minutes ago. Here we go, folks. We go. The latest numbers released by the Department of Labor signals that the U.S. economy shrunk again. The GDP number was a miss, downward spiraling, as I had predicted. The GDP number showing a fall year to date, and while the latest details on the big number and why, also the Thursday unemployment number released minutes ago was not good as well. The latest details on that front. Then we'll be turning to those corporate earnings, and we had a big surprise. We had a big surprise as Macy's reported corporate earnings. Was it a beat or a miss? Jump in the live chat and tell me what you think. Meantime, Dollar General and Dollar Tree reported corporate earnings. Did they come in lower than expected, like Target and Walmart the week before? Or did they do Nordstrom's-like numbers? I have the latest in today's recording. Last night, we had a big shocker as we had those FOMC minute notes released from May. I'll touch back on those. And then we had the CBO report released last night that showed Jay Powell has that inflationary number wrong for later this year. That's big news for your SS300, your benefits. I'll be touching over that today in this big recording as well. Plus, we have a series of other corporate earnings that were released minutes ago. I have those numbers and what it means for your money. Next up, 6 stimulus, a major deal potentially in the works by the end of this week. 7 stimulus, also a major deal for my student loan debt forgiveness. Oh boy, it's getting good. The toast is toasted and the butter is buttering, but the great news is a fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state. Subscribe to this channel, step 1. Step 2, become a member. And step 3, stay to the very end of this big broadcast live on air, because I'm going to show you how to get these incredible checks in every U.S. state. A big morning, a big day, a big pot of money. We're going to go over all that excitement as Mornings LA gets underway from the shores of Santa Monica, California, starting right now. And good morning, everybody. A beautiful day, and thank you for joining me on a special broadcast live on air of Mornings LA with the latest details that came in from the financial markets minutes ago. We'll be turning to that in a second. Later in this video, stay with me because I'm going to get you a fourth stimulus check. Yes, a fourth stimulus check has landed in every U.S. state. It's for you. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Right under the video, hit that subscribe button right now. Step 2, become a member where it says join this channel. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP, and then get that newsletter tonight, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system, and get those big checks. How do you do it? It's coming up later in this recording. It's a big day, and in this recording, we're going to go over the latest financial news that was released minutes ago, the data that came in last night. It was a shocker. The corporate earnings were released this morning, and then we have some big surprises across the board, and it's all impact on your money. But step 1, we're going to first go over the Build Back Better Act. The Build Back Better Act is a congressional bill that will give you additional fourth stimulus checks on top of those checks I'm going to get you later in this recording today that are in every U.S. state. The Build Back Better Act negotiations are underway, with it likely get done in a few days. It's the tow truck with the tow hitch, and in the driver's seats are 2 individuals negotiating it to the finish line, Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer. I like this twosome because they are very blunt. Number 1, they tell you what they like and what they don't like. Number 2, and they say they're going to get done. The focal point of the 2 people is they want to get it done because the U.S. economy is struggling and you need that assistance right away. And that Build Back Better Act is those 2 people, Democrat from West Virginia, Democrat from New York, negotiating for its finality to get it for you as quickly as possible. In Evenings LA, America's most watched show for financial news in prime time tonight at 5 o'clock, we'll go over the finality of each check in the Build Back Better Act. But here's a preview. I believe that the following comments from 2021 by Joe Manchin gives us an indication of which checks are sane and which checks are going. The checks going are anything that increases the expenditure of Medicare or expands the Medicare program. So, which checks are likely to go? Any of those. Which are dental, going, vision, going, hearing, going, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 55, going. And that is what the finality is on those items. The Medicaid gap fix, that would likely stay. That was a workaround plan for 12 Republican holdout states that provide insurance to uninsured people in those states. That was actually written by Joe Manchin and Raphael Warnock. What is also likely to go away, not survive, the negotiations, paid leave. Joe Manchin said in 2021, he's not going to support it. So that's likely to go. Everything else is likely to stay. $15,000 to $80,000 of incredible checks across 3 classes and 3 add-ons. Now, the Build Back Better Act is supported by a series of things. 1, the push to get it done. 2, the bad economic data. And 3, the midterm elections. On Afternoons LA today, I give you guidance on those midterm elections, but the issue is they have to hold the Senate. They have to hold the Senate if they're Democrats. And the holding the Senate is now at issue because Raphael Warnock is up for re-election for the Georgia Senate seat this fall and is now facing Herschel Walker, who won the Republican primary this last Tuesday. This is big, and this basically means they got to send something out to ensure they hold the Democratic majority in the Senate. Now, the Build Back Better Act is also supported by bad economic data. And that bad economic data comes from looking at the corporate earnings and also the data release. And we have breaking news this morning, starting right now. I told you that this morning was going to be a big day because we're going to have the Department of Labor's unemployment numbers, Costco's corporate earnings, and Macy's corporate earnings. Now, if you've been watching this channel for the last 2 weeks, let's play a game. Let's see if we can predict these numbers based upon what we saw the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, we saw the following. Walmart and Target, who certainly have patrons that are of a certain magnitude in consumer spending, fell dramatically, missed dramatically in their retail earnings reports for the first quarter of this year. Then yesterday, Dick's Sporting Goods versus Nordstrom, totally different situation. Nordstrom surged dramatically because why? People were going back in the office and needed that professional attire. They went to Nordstrom's to buy it. Dick's Sporting Goods plummeted dramatically. Why? Because people are no longer camping. They're back to work. It's a change of environment. So here we go. Let's look at the numbers that came in today and let's predict. If you're on the live chat, I'll interact with you as well. Macy's reported corporate earnings. Do you think Macy's was a Target or was a Nordstrom's result? Yeah, if you said a Nordstrom's result, you got it right. Macy's reported earnings just like Nordstrom's the day before. It reported fiscal first quarter profits and sales ahead of analysts' expectations, and it gave guidance for the rest of this year. Of course, Macy's owns Bloomingdale's as well. What did they see? They saw that the consumer was going back into the store, feeling the product and buying the product in bigger numbers than the year before. They wanted to be back in the store and spending. The retailer expects 2022 revenue to be flat, but the earnings to grow. Let's look at what happened. The earnings per share, this is not a misprint. The earnings per share for today was supposed to be 82 cents. It came in at $1.08. What a major beat on the earnings, which of course is net profits after costs. The revenue was basically right on the money for what analysts expected. Macy's stocks are up 13% this morning. Wow. So Macy's was not a Walmart, not a Target, not a Kohl's or Abercrombie & Fitch. It was more a Nordstrom. Now, what also reported corporate earnings minutes ago? This is where it gets really fun and interesting. Dollar General and Dollar Tree. Dollar General and Dollar Tree, you would think of that as sort of a Target Walmart situation. You're not going in there to buy your suit for work. You're going in there to buy cheap items. Maybe you're a low-income household. So do you think Dollar General and Dollar Tree reported corporate earnings like a Walmart or like a Nordstrom? Jump in the live chat and write Walmart or Nordstrom. And here we go. If you chose Nordstrom, you got it right. Yes, Dollar General and Dollar Tree are on fire today. They did not report earnings like a Walmart or Target. That's shocker. Dollar General is up 10% right now. Dollar Tree is up 13%. Alibaba is up 4% in pre-market, and Twitter is up on news that Elon Musk is spending more money in the company. Meantime, Nvidia, which is a tech play, which is sort of like what happened with Snap last week, is down on its problems. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Williams-Sonoma. You would think that Williams-Sonoma is a stay-at-home play. You're buying that beautiful Cuisinart or that new espresso machine because you're staying home through the pandemic. You would think that Williams-Sonoma would be down this year because people are back at work. They're not cooking around the clock. No, Williams-Sonoma was a major beat as well. And Williams-Sonoma is up so big that it's giving full guidance that expects a big year for the company. Wow. So there you go. It's a very, very difficult financial market to analyze and to predict, especially in the retail space. When you go over to tech implosion is far from over. It started with Snap, but those corporate earnings last week, a major miss, down 40%, and it imploded into Twitter and Facebook. So here comes the economic data. Okay, this is really fascinating, folks. So it's a new Thursday, it's a new week, it's a new unemployment number. I had told you all this week that I did not want to see 200,000 new unemployment claims this week. I just didn't want to see it. Why? If you've been on this channel since day one of March 2020, you saw that we were at 200,000 new unemployment claims the week before the pandemic started, right as the pandemic was starting to pick up speed. Then we shot up to 1 million. We fell after we slowly came out of this pandemic in early 2021 to 182,000 new jobless claims. That's the number I want to see. I want to see 182. Last week I was worried. We were at over 200,000. So here we go. What did the number come in at? If you're on the live chat, do you think it was over 200,000? Yes or no? Right in the live chat right now. Here we go. The number of jobless claims for the week ending May 21 surged to 210,000. It was 218,000 the week before, but this is a non-improving unemployment number. Again, they can reassess numbers or reanalyze numbers the week before and readjust them, but this is a bad number. It's basically flat. 210,000, this is no bueno. No bueno. Now, some analysts are saying it's a good number. It's not a good number. It is not a good number when it's over 200,000 new jobless claims. But here we go. The Department of Labor also gave first quarter GDP numbers minutes ago. And that GDP, what is it? It's the gross national product of the U.S. economy. It shows if we're growing, if we're shrinking. It's the number that determines recession. And I've been telling you that we're shrinking dramatically. In February this year, this was the only channel in the United States recording broadcast industry where I said we're going into recession for 2 years, starting in 2023. Recession is defined based upon GDP, but different people define it differently. Some people say it has to be negative GDP growth quarter after quarter for 2 quarters. Other people like me say it has to be basically a zero number GDP or a negative number for 2 quarters. So what happened? Here we go. The Department of Labor said that GDP was a decline of 1.5% for the first quarter of this year. There you go, folks. The Dow is expecting a 1.3% number, so this is more of a decline than expected by analysts. This is the first quarter of this year, and this is not good. This was spurred by increasing inflation. Now, here in these numbers was something very confusing. Consumer spending, do you think it was up? It was up. Consumers were spending more in the first quarter this year at 3.1%. That's higher than Wall Street expectations of 2.7%. This negative GDP number is consistent with the numbers I delivered last night. If you watched Evening's LALATE last night, thank you of course, for those very nice comments. People were very excited about the new look to Evening's LALATE last night. People really like the revamped look. It's easier, fresher, and easier to follow along. Well, last night, I delivered in Evening's LALATE the breaking news last night, which was the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office of the U.S. government, releasing its numbers and guidance for GDP and inflation. What did they say last night? Remember, I say that GDP will drop to 0 by the end of this year and then be 0 negative for the next 2 years. That's recession. That's obviously recession. What did the CBO say? We're going to 2.2% start of next year. There we go. And then for the year 2024, I'm saying zero negative. They said 1.5%. They're getting closer to my number by the day. This signals recession 2023 is coming, in my opinion. Now, they did not say the word recession, and they did not spook anyone, but this shows that the economy is shrinking and slowing very, very quickly. We were 6.9% GDP growth in the month of April. So imagine the month of May, we've shrunk so dramatically. What did the CBO report say last night as well? Here we go. Inflation. Jay Powell had it really wrong once again all this month, all this year. Inflation was first predicted again by me last year and coming in at 8% in December 2021 when the Federal Reserve said it was going to be 2 to 3% and temporary. They were wrong. It was not 2 to 3%. It was not temporary. It was 8% and sustained, as I had predicted all last year and all this year. Moreover, in recent months, I've been saying that inflation is coming down to 4% later this year. Jay Powell, all this week, all last week, all last month, potentially next month as well, has said inflation's coming in at 2% later this year. What did the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, a nonpartisan federal institution, say overnight? Jay Powell has it wrong. LALATE has it right. Well, they didn't mention me by name, but they basically implied that. What do they say? They said the inflation rate by the end of this year will be 3.8%. Ding, ding, ding. I said 4%. They said 3.8%. There we go. They say Jay Powell's absolutely wrong at 2%. This is why you watch this channel, because I give you absolutely spot on numbers when it's inflation, when it's recession, when it's interest rates, when it's the GDP. And here it's going on again. What did the Federal Reserve release last night? The Federal Reserve last night released those FOMC minute notes from the May meeting. Earlier this year, the Federal Reserve had that meeting. Earlier this month, they had that meeting where they did that half basis point increase. So did we get any new guidance for those FOMC minutes notes released last night? We did. They used the word multiple. They will have to potentially do multiple meetings of half basis point. Interesting. Those meetings notes from earlier this May said, most participants judged that a 50 basis point increase in target range would be likely appropriate in the next couple of meetings. Couple, actually, not multiple. Couple. So what do I believe is going to be happening? Well, let's remember that these notes, this meeting was before the stock market crash of 2022. The stock market crash of 2022 had one major downfall before that meeting. That was Amazon. But after that, we had Walmart and Target and Snap. And since then, the downward spiral has happened. So these meetings notes, some may say, are sort of stale. Other people will say they're sort of out of date. The stock market crash has already happened started since those notes. But what do we got in those notes? What's my projection? They're going to do a half basis point increase for June and July, and then a quarter for August, and maybe quarters thereafter, is my current projection based upon these notes. I don't think they're going to do 3 halves anymore. I don't think they're going to do June, July, August. I think they're going to do June and July, and then quarter thereafter. Of course, they could do a lot less. I mean, they could do a lot less if this economy really implodes even more. But I think that's the biggest severity that you're going to see for those interest rate spikes across the board. This is big news because why is this important? Because it tees up the question about your benefits, SS300. Joe Biden needs to make that swap from COLA to inflation. COLA to inflation, what does that mean? Well, Joe Biden, when running for president and at his platform as president, said he'd swap COLA for inflation. Inflation is still 8%, folks. Even the CBO has it where I have it. If the CBO and I are right, then if Joe Biden made that swap from COLA to inflation, you'd lock in $200 more per month right now, and then another $100 later this year if inflation tracks at 4%. If inflation tracks at even higher than 4% later this year, you get more money. Joe Biden needs to make that swap from COLA to inflation. But the great news is that a forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state. A forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state, and you're not going to see this in print media, broadcast media, your local news, your cable news, anywhere else, any other YouTube channels. You're only going to see this here on LALATE. Why? Viewers ask me to find them checks, and I do the needle in the haystack analysis, the research. I look high and low to find these checks. They're not in any other broadcast news channel except here. Where did I find them? By executive order, by Joe Biden. That started in March, and they've been on this channel since the month of March. In the second half of this video, I'm going to get you those big checks. They are four stimulus checks in every U.S. state, and they ain't small checks. We ain't playing around here. They're upwards of 80,000. So how do you get them? Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Subscribe under this video. Step 2, become a member. The membership link where it says join the channel is under the video. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. And then step 3, open that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Finally, step 4, stay for the second half because we're going to get those big checks in the second half. Then we'll have a preview of tonight's evening's LA and afternoon's LA. We'll go over the recessionary pressures. We'll go over that 7 stimulus and 6 stimulus with those major announcements as well. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, the big second half of Mornings LA live on air continues. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering. And first, here is the members community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Mornings LA continues.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now as Mornings LA goes into a big second half for this big broadcast from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Hope you have wonderful and great. I'm going to be with you all Memorial Day weekend, so stay with me with new recordings on the hour, by the hour, all Memorial weekend. But the importance is to get those applications in for those 4 stimulus checks right now. A 4 stimulus check is in every U.S. state. And how do you get it? Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. And get ready for that membership newsletter Monday through Friday after the coming up right now. The latest details on that 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state are absolutely enormous and incredible. But first, understand what you're watching and how we got here as a family. If you're new to this channel, and welcome to all the incredible new members, let me tell you what you're watching on this channel. You're watching a broadcast financial news channel that reports all the major developing financial news, gives you guidance on where this U.S. economy is going at the single moment, and gets you checks. No one gets more money for more people than me on this channel, $50 million. In March of this year, Americans watching this channel said, you know, that Build Back Better Act is not happening just yet. I need checks right now. I can't wait any longer. Can you find me some 4 stimulus checks, LA? And I did. It's a needle in the haystack. It requires hours of research. And the checks I found for you are incredible. These incredible checks are upwards of 80,000. You qualify. Single individual, 75,000 or less. Married couple, 150,000 or less. Single, married, with children, without children, rent or own. Every U.S. state, you're ready? I'm ready. Let's go into getting to the first of those 4 stimulus checks. I use a lettering system on this channel to separate them out, and that's a lettering system you're only going to see here to make it simple, easy, and breezy. And the first of these checks is Check A. It's a $6,500 to $12,000  4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, 75,000 or less, go get it. Married couple, 150,000 or less, go get it. And if you're on benefits, go get it. It is called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. How do you get it? Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. The membership link is under the video. Join here. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Step 3, open that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and go down to Check A. There it is. Click the link in that membership newsletter, and it sends you right into Check A. Apply, and you get it. There you go. How simple is that? But you're not going to stop there with Check A. You're going to get Check B. Wow. Those numbers are not a mistake. They pay $15,000 to $80,000. Viewers are averaging about 66,000 to 80,000. If you've had a success story, send it to me on private message on Facebook. We've had a lot of success stories this week as well. Single individual, 75,000 less. Married couple, 150,000 less. It's called the Homeowners Grant. How do you get it? So simple. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member of this channel. Step 3, open that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and go right down into Check B. There it is. There's a link, and then you click the link and you go in and apply online. But you're not going to stop there, because I also got you a 4-stimulus check called Check C. This is for my renters. Yes, for the renters. Also for the homeowners. It is an MSC. It's averaging about $2,000 a month over 12 months. And it is huge. It is rent, utilities, mortgages. This is more. How do you get Check C? Simple. Subscribe, become a member, go into the membership newsletter, and go down to Check C. For Check C, you're not applying online. You are making phone calls for Check C. And Check C is so wonderful. Check C is the result of the efforts of this channel on day one. In day one, viewers needed assistance. And then by December 2020, we watched the negotiations for the second stimulus between Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin not happen. So by December 2020, Americans needed money. And I found it for them. There was not a lot at the time of the thick of the pandemic. It was rent and utilities and mortgage assistance. And the great news is that when they got that money, I said it'll be training for the future, because I have a piece of proposed legislation, which I'm coining the expression for as third stimulus. Yeah, that was then. It became law, and third stimulus became law, and there was a lot more of this money. This Check C is basically that same thing. It was then called purple on this channel, a third stimulus. It's the leftover of third stimulus, which I now call as Check C on this channel. And the viewership of this channel has gotten so much money from Check C. You should as well. Those incredible sums of Check C, let's look at them. Wow, look at that. $20,000 to $30,000 for rent. Let's look at the utilities. Viewers have gotten upwards of $15,000 for utilities, like Mark's brother-in-law. His brother-in-law is getting $25,000 a year for SNAP over 10 years, $250,000. Let's look at the combos. Mark, he was at $32,000. Then he went to $50,000. Now he's at $166,000. Nisi, she keeps on getting $8,000 every few weeks. She's at over $50,000 right now. Here's Mark. He went from 32, then he went to 50. Then he got Check B. He's at over $166,000 right now. Lorraine, she was at 105. Now she's at about $120,000. So again, how do you get that Check C? You go into that membership newsletter, go down and pounce and get those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Let's recap, but let me also give you some other guidance as well. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. There's a link under the video. Hit the subscribe button. You don't want to miss a single video, because this channel, the news cycle is changing very dramatically, very quickly now, almost every 2 hours. So you don't want to miss a video. We start before sunrise at 3 and 3:30 a.m. with sunrise. Then early mornings LALATE every day at 4 a.m. Very well watched this morning and yesterday. Thank you. Then, of course, mornings out live on air, which you're watching potentially right now at 9 a.m. 11 a.m. is noon. And then we have our 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock afternoon shows. Evening LA, our primetime most watched show for financial news at 5 o'clock. And then 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 11 o'clock have shows as well. Here's what you need to know is that the news cycle is really not overlapping anymore. So the afternoon show is different than the evening show. The noon is different than the afternoon show. Last night, I had the CBO report and the Federal Reserve's notes that came in after afternoons, but before evenings. So it's that fluid. Subscribe to this channel. You don't want to miss any of this. Step 2, there's a little bell at the front of this channel. Hit that bell and make sure it's set to all notifications. That way you get all notifications as a member. Step 3, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. There's a join button under the video. Then, at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, you'll get an alert that says new LALATE post. Right under it says membership newsletter. Below it, it says new post. Click here to go to the post. You go to the post, that's the newsletter. Finally, if you have questions about this newsletter, how do you open it? Where is it? What do I click on? Send me a private message at Facebook. Facebook.com/LALATE News. Send me a private message. And I have a new self-help video about the newsletter, which people say really helps them, explains everything about how to open it, where it is, how to click on it. And I'll send you that if you need assistance across the board. SS300, well, here we go. Joseph Biden needs to make that swap from COLA to inflation. Why? Because that inflationary rate's coming down, but how quickly is it coming down? Well, it's coming down to 4% by the end of the year. The Department of Labor now confirms LATE's reporting for over a year. That would be SS300. The next thing that Joe Biden needs to do is forgive that student loan debt. Insiders now say that the 7th stimulus will get a finality within a few days. Whoa. I believe it's going to be $10,000. The president has said no to $50,000. He has forgiven student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation, went to work in the nonprofit or public sector after graduation, and then whose debts were caused by fraud by the university against them. The forgiveness of $10,000 would make this a finality, and we would move on to the next subject matter. People ask about fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus for the SSI reform would need a recon. That is why you just want him to do this part right now. Swapping that COLA for inflation would raise your benefits up $200 more per month right now. And then whatever inflation is later this year, if it's 4%, you get another $100. That would be SS300. You're potentially driving Memorial Day weekend. You're seeing the price of gasoline, and you're going to laugh when I say this, but you're going to like this price of gasoline. What do you mean, LA? Why am I going to like this price of gasoline? Well, get ready for the price of gasoline for 4th of July weekend. In my predictions, it's going to be $1 a gallon higher. Yeah, so if you want to do driving, you may want to do it this weekend and not 4th of July. Why? China is coming off of lockdown. And China's been on lockdown because of subvariant of Omicron, and they've not been driving their cars. When they do return back to driving in early June, consumption is going to increase, shortage of gasoline is going to increase, and the price of gasoline is going to go through the roof. I'm projecting that everything is going to go up $1 more than where it is right now. Brent crude creeped up a little bit overnight. You know, it was 117, 118. AAA national average right now is like 454. I believe it's going to be 554 nationwide average. Again, that's nationwide average. In California, Los Angeles, it's over $6 already average. And that's unleaded. That's not premium. So I believe that could be 7 in a month from now. That is why there's good news coming from the Western allies. Those Western allies now signal that they may have a deal on 6 stimulus within days. 6 stimulus is the situation for gasoline and wheat and grain. I am really excited about this news because I believe this is what will get the price of gasoline under control. The comment comes in from the European Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen, who says within the next days, there will be a deal on the ban of Russian oil. They gave a waiver, of course, to Hungary, Slovakia, and Czech Republic because they cannot get off the oil. They're too dependent. Why is this so important? This is my analysis. I believe you got to get everyone to ban the Russian oil as a team, and then as a team, they'll all find the replacement. There hasn't been a real concerted effort to find the replacement because not everyone's banning the Russian oil. Is it Venezuela, the replacement? Is it Iran? Is it Iraq? Where is it? Is OPEC plus? When everyone bans at the same time, then everyone can push and find the solution. Venezuela heated up last week, then softened, then cooled off. Iran was heating up the last month, then cooled down. The push is not there. The push will be there when everyone bans at the same time and the price is really high. Then all those Western allies will step forward and say, hey, let's get the replacement across the board. Housing market crash, recessionary environment, stock market crash of 2022. Let's go over all the details of them one at a time, starting right now. First, stock market crash of 2022. Just starting. We are not at the bottom. This ain't the bottom. We are in a bear market right now. A bear market means that the stock market will go down 20%. Now, we already are down 20%. So what does that mean for you? In a bear market plus a recession, we go down 47.8% stocks. So we're only halfway down there. We have a long way longer to go down. It won't be a continual downward spiral. It's a conservative, slow-moving downward course, I know Snap went down 40%. I know Target went down 40% in one day. And Uber and Lyft are down 60% year to date. And a lot of stocks, as I've reported on this channel, day in, day out, are down 16% in one day. But the overall stock market will come from where it is right now, about 25%, 26% down, to 47 to 48% down as the recession kicks in. Which brings the question, when is the recession kicking in? 81% of Americans polled by a new financial channel say that the recession is coming later this year. I don't believe so. I think it's early 2023. I was the only American broadcaster to report we're going into recession in spring of this year. But I said it's coming in 2023 for 2 years. Now, this is interesting because recession is defined differently by different people, and then you'll have industry recession before you have broad recession. I believe that the housing market crash of 2022 has begun. I believe the housing market is in recession. I believe the auto industry is in recession. There was new auto data released today, I did not bring it on air, that shows that used car sales fell astronomically this month, year to date. This is why. The demand is not there. People are just not buying the cars. They bought a car last year. They're not going to buy another car this year. The demand is not there. The auto industry is now going to get hit by too much inventory and no demand. Over to housing, a little bit different. Housing, I think, is going to be a bubble. I think it's a lot of fake statements, incorrect statements, what I call thank you next, and they're going to get hit by these fake statements. It's coming from the housing builders, home builders, and also from the realtors. The home builders say the following things in the last 3 days. The demand is there. They just aren't buying. Excuse me? That's just bubble-like talk. The demand is there. That means that someone showed up to look at the open house, and then they saw the price and they walked away. That's not demand. Demand is when you buy the house. That makes no sense. Yeah, that's bubble-like talk. The realtors also bubble-like talk. They say, we're not worried about the mortgage rates going from 3% to 5.5% from February to March because we have all cash buyers. Again, bubble-like talk. Why? Because people to come up with the cash to buy a home are most likely selling a stock position. They're selling some stocks, or they're selling some crypto, or they're selling another real estate holding. They don't have cash just sitting around. They got the cash because they sold something else. Well, obviously, they're not going to sell their stocks if they're down 25%. They're not going to lose 25% to go buy a home. No. So they're not going to sell the stocks if they're down. They're not going to buy the home. And that means the housing market crash has bubble-like talk across the board. Next, recession. Well, you're not going to feel the impact of this recession for 2023 until potentially later this year. You're going to see it. You're going to feel its impact as consumer sentiment is going to drop, consumer savings is going to drop. But what I'm predicting on this channel, stimulus stampede, 90 days out. Stimulus stampede, 90 days out. Millions of Americans are going to be hurting 90 days out. Not really yet from recession, but from seeing the wind of the recession, the storm of the recession, feeling that wind on land when the recession's still out at sea. You're hurting right now from the inflation. You're hurting now from the stock market crash, or the housing market crash. But the recession, much more dramatic. And when that stimulus stampede comes here, people are going to say, LA, I got laid off from my work. Do you have some FPUC for me? No. Do you have some PUA? No. Yes, I am having problems with my small business. We do not have the consumer coming into the store. Do you have some EIDL grant or EIDL loan? No. None of those instruments from 2020 exist anymore. PUA, EIDL, PPP, LWA, all gone. They don't exist anymore. So people are going to come to this channel saying, what do you have? And I say, I have a 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. Go get it. But ultimately, one thing I cannot predict ever is how much money is left around to be able to get. It's available today, and that is why, if you're watching this channel today, this week, this month, you're in good shape. You're in good shape. You're going to go get those checks right today by subscribing, becoming a member, and getting that newsletter and going and applying and getting these checks. 90 days out from now, the stampede is going to be here. The stampede is going to be on the channel, and people are going to be asking for lots of checks. And ultimately, who knows if there'll be a lot of money still around then. You don't have to worry about that today. Go get those checks right today. Coming up next is Noontime. This video will automatically take you to the Noontime show if you're watching the show live on air at 9 a.m. If you're watching before sunrise, then we have early mornings LA at 4 a.m. and mornings LA coming up at 7 a.m. At noontime today, we go over check routing times. How quickly those checks will be coming. We'll be going over more about this inflationary and GDP numbers, the Federal Reserve, your stimulus checks, and also SS300, student loan debt forgiveness, and 6 stimulus. Then today, join me later as the 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock shows heat up. Then into evenings LA at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, have a beautiful day. I'll be with you all Memorial Day weekend as well with new shows. Stay informed, stay focused. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the coffee's brewing. Become a member, subscribe, and stay with LA for more.